The maid was about to trip when the kind-hearted CEO reached out to steady her. From that moment on, she naively believed the single for 10 years CEO had fallen for her. With the housekeeper out sick, the CEO kindly let her take over temporarily, even handed her an unfinished scarf to complete. So the maid became more and more convinced he liked her. What she didn't know was that the scarf was meant for his ex-wife. Over the years, the CEO had buried himself in work, neglecting both his wife and daughter, which eventually led to them leaving him. Now with over a dozen subsidiaries about to go public, his next goal was to win back the family he lost, and the scarf was the first gift he prepared for his ex. After the CEO left, the maid lay on the sofa, daydreaming about their future life. In her mind, the scarf had become a symbol of their relationship. She was now sure she had entered the CEO's heart. When a co-worker called her to sweep the courtyard, she arrogantly said her status had changed, and she wouldn't do such dirty work anymore. The co-worker was annoyed, reminding her that this had always been her job. But before she could finish, the maid slapped her across the face. Shocked, the co-worker demanded to know what she was doing. The maid shamelessly claimed she was personally appointed housekeeper by the CEO, then waved the scarf around as proof. The co-worker remembered the CEO had indeed been carrying that scarf, and reluctantly believed her. Just as the co-worker was about to leave, the maid called her back, and ordered her to gather all the staff. She wanted to inspect everyone's work. Afraid of offending her, the co-worker gathered the entire household staff. After a long morning of hard work, they were finally resting, but were rudely woken up and forced to line up. With no warning, the maid began slapping people, then fired several of them on the spot. One of the male staff couldn't take it anymore, and demanded to know who she thought she was. She smugly replied that she was the housekeeper. He didn't believe she had the authority, and threatened to call the CEO, but the call was answered by the CEO's secretary, who confirmed her temporary position. Emboldened, the maid ordered the fired staff to get out immediately, then decided to show off in front of her relatives. She invited them all over, and acted like the lady of the house. When her younger sister said she wanted to eat the ornamental fish, the maid had the $1,000 koi pulled from the tank and cooked. When a relative craved tea eggs, she used wine worth tens of thousands to boil them, claiming it enhanced the flavor. She even tore a priceless antique painting from the wall, to use as a tablecloth. Finally, she wanted to take her relatives into a locked room, but the other staff stopped her. Everyone knew that room was specially prepared for the CEO's ex-wife. No one was allowed inside without his permission. The staff warned her, saying the CEO had worked on that room for months, and they would all be fired if she went in. But she dismissed their concerns, claiming the room was prepared for her. They insisted she stay out, but she fired them all on the spot, then swaggered in with her relatives. Inside, she found a wardrobe of haute couture dresses, and immediately tried them on, smiling smugly in her delusion, completely unaware that the CEO's mother was on her way back home with the ex-wife. Meanwhile, wearing her new outfit, she announced she would take her relatives for a drive. Seeing the Rolls-Royce in the yard, and the trunk filled with cash, she delusionally believed it was all for her. Thrilled, she started the car, even though she had no license, and before she could drive out of the community, she crashed straight into the CEO's mother, who had just arrived.